Welcome back, friends, to Time Rewind TV. Today, we're riding back to 1955 to revisit Gunsmoke, the legendary western that brought Dodge City, dangerous outlaws, and Marshal Matt Dillon into millions of American homes. But more than 70 years later, the real stories of its beloved cast are filled with remarkable success, unforgettable memories, and heartbreaking goodbyes. So get comfortable, and let's remember the cast of Gunsmoke, then and now in 2026. Ken Curtis was born in 1916 in Lamar, Colorado. He was in his late 40s when Festus Hagen became a regular part of Gunsmoke, bringing a scruffy beard, unmistakable country voice, and a completely different kind of energy to Dodge City. Festus could be stubborn, funny, and endlessly argumentative, especially around document. But when Marshal Dillon needed someone he could trust, Festus was always ready. Curtis turned what could have been comic relief into one of the show's most beloved characters. Curtis remained closely associated with Gunsmoke for the rest of his life and died in 1991 at age 74 after a heart attack. Festus worked because beneath the strange expressions and rough exterior was something simple: loyalty. Dodge City never felt quite the same without him. Milburn Stone was born in 1904 in Button, Kansas. He was 51 when he began playing Dr. Galen, Doc Adams, Dodge City's sharp-tongued physician and one of Matt Dillon's closest friends. Doc could complain about almost anything, and his arguments with Festus became part of the show's charm. But when someone was wounded or dying, the sarcasm disappeared and audiences saw exactly how much he cared. Stone stayed with Gunsmoke for nearly its entire television run and won an Emmy for the role. He died in 1980 at age 75 from a heart attack. Doc remains unforgettable because he felt like more than a television character. After hundreds of episodes, he felt like Dodge City's family doctor. James Arness was born in 1923 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was 32 when he first walked onto the streets of Dodge City as Marshal Matt Dillon, the towering lawman who would become the face of Gunsmoke for the next 20 years. Arness played Dillon with quiet authority rather than flashy heroics. He could draw a gun when necessary, but his real strength was knowing when to listen, when to negotiate, and when there was simply no other choice. Arness played Matt Dillon throughout all 20 seasons and later returned for several television movies. He died in 2011 at age 88 from natural causes. Matt Dillon became legendary because Arness made him feel like the kind of lawman Dodge City truly needed: tough enough to survive, but human enough to care. Dennis Weaver was born in 1924 in Joplin, Missouri. He was 31 when he began playing Chester Good, Matt Dillon's loyal assistant and one of the personalities who helped define the earliest years of Gunsmoke. With his distinctive limp, country manner, and loyal personality, Chester brought humor and warmth to stories that could become surprisingly dark. He wasn't the fastest gun in Dodge, but Matt knew he could depend on him. Weaver left Gunsmoke and went on to even greater television success with McCloud, eventually winning an Emmy during his career. He died in 2006 at age 81 from complications of cancer. Chester remains special because before Festus arrived, he was the loyal friend standing beside Matt when Dodge City got dangerous. Amanda Blake was born in 1929 in Buffalo, New York. She was 26 when she became Miss Kitty Russell, the strong, independent saloon woman whose relationship with Matt Dillon would keep viewers wondering for years. Kitty was never simply the woman waiting for the marshal. Blake gave her intelligence, confidence, humor, and enough toughness to survive in Dodge City on her own terms. Her unspoken bond with Matt became one of television's classic slow-burning relationships. Blake left the series after 19 seasons and remained forever connected to Miss Kitty. She died in 1989 at only 60 from AIDS-related complications. Kitty worked because she could stand beside Matt without ever disappearing behind him. She wasn't just part of Dodge City, she was one of the reasons it felt like home. Glenn Strange was born in 1899 in Weed, New Mexico Territory. Already a veteran actor, stuntman, and former movie monster, he was in his early 60s when he became familiar to Gunsmoke viewers as bartender Sam Noonan. Sam spent years behind the bar at the Long Branch Saloon, quietly becoming part of the everyday rhythm of Dodge City. Strange didn't need major storylines. His familiar face made the town feel consistent from episode to episode. Long before Gunsmoke, Strange had famously played Frankenstein's monster in several Universal films. He died in 1973, at age 74 from lung cancer. Sam remains a wonderful example of what made the series special. Even the man behind the bar eventually felt like an old friend. Buck Taylor was born in 1938 in Hollywood, California. He was 29 when he joined Gunsmoke as Newly O'Brien, a young gunsmith who eventually became one of Marshal Dillon's dependable deputies. Newly brought younger energy to the later seasons while fitting naturally alongside Matt, Festus, Kitty, and Document. Over time, audiences watched him grow from a newcomer into someone Dodge City could rely on. Now 88, Taylor remains one of the surviving familiar faces from Gunsmoke and later appeared in Western projects including Tombstone and Yellowstone. Newly worked because viewers didn't simply meet him fully formed, they watched him earn his place among characters who were already television legends. Ted Jordan was born in 1924 in Circleville, Ohio. He was in his late 30s when he began appearing on Gunsmoke, eventually becoming familiar to viewers as Nathan Burke, one of Dodge City's lawmen. Burke was never as central as Matt Dillon or Festus, but his recurring presence helped make the marshal's office and the town itself feel real. In a series lasting hundreds of episodes, familiar supporting faces mattered. Jordan spent years appearing throughout the series and became part of the huge ensemble that kept Dodge City alive week after week. He died in 2005 at age 80. Burke reminds longtime fans that Gunsmoke wasn't built around only 4 or 5 stars, it was an entire town audiences returned to for 2 decades. Rudy Suter was born in 1905 in Oklahoma. A veteran Western performer and musician, he appeared repeatedly on Gunsmoke as one of the many townsmen populating the streets and businesses of Dodge City. Suter rarely received the spotlight, but performers like him were essential to the show's atmosphere. Whether standing in a saloon or appearing somewhere along the dusty streets, these familiar background faces made Dodge feel inhabited rather than staged. Suter accumulated appearances across numerous classic Western productions before dying in 1991 at age 86. His Gunsmoke work represents the actors audiences may not remember by name but whose faces helped build the television West they remember so clearly. James Nusser was born in 1905 in Cleveland, Ohio. He was in his 50s when he began playing Louis Feeders, Dodge City's scruffy town drunk who became a surprisingly memorable recurring presence. Louis could easily have been played only for laughs, but Nusser gave him vulnerability and humanity. Beneath the drinking was a lonely man whom the people of Dodge knew, tolerated, and sometimes genuinely cared about. Nusser appeared in dozens of Gunsmoke episodes before dying in 1979 at age 74. Louis worked because the series didn't fill Dodge City only with heroes and villains. It also made room for imperfect people living ordinary, difficult lives and treated them like they belonged there too. Matthew McHugh was born in 1895 and became one of Hollywood's many dependable background performers, appearing repeatedly in Western films and television shows, including Gunsmoke. As a Dodge City townsman, McHugh was part of the visual world surrounding Matt Dillon. His role wasn't about major dialogue or dramatic gunfights, it was about helping those dusty streets feel populated every time the marshal walked through them. McHugh died in 1966 at age 71. His name may not be as recognizable as Arness, Blake, or Stone, but performers like him were part of the hidden foundation of classic television. Sometimes the people standing quietly in the background are exactly what makes a fictional town feel real. Burt Rumsey was born in 1892 in Montana. Already an experienced performer by the time Gunsmoke reached television, he became one of the familiar faces seen behind the bar during the show's early years. The saloon was one of Dodge City's most important gathering places, where friendships, arguments, gambling, and trouble could all begin. Rumsey's bartender helped establish that atmosphere before later characters became fixtures of the Long Branch. Rumsey died in 1968 at age 75. His role was small compared with the show's stars, but that's part of what made Gunsmoke so convincing. Dodge City wasn't built by Matt Dillon alone, it was built by hundreds of familiar faces who made audiences believe this town kept living even after the episode ended. Thanks for spending another nostalgic moment with us here at Time Rewind TV. Looking back at Gunsmoke, 1955, brings us back to the unforgettable days of Dodge City and the legendary characters who made television history. Which character holds the most memories for you? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you again on Time Rewind TV.